Guys, on the last episode in this series, I went looking for an ocean monster, the giant frogfish. But today, the search continues. Will we find the giant we're looking for? Make sure to stick around to the end to find out. You will not believe how crazy this creature is. Now, most creatures that live on the ocean floor depend on perfect camouflage and mimicry, and the frogfish is no exception. However, after scouring the muck looking for any fish-shaped rocks or sponges that looked out of the ordinary, it wasn't long before one revealed itself. Frogfish have a crazy ability to change their coloration and patterns to blend in with their surroundings, and this painted frogfish was no exception. The frogfish's specialised skin cells, combined with fleshy projections that cover its body, allow it to develop sandy patches all over its body that directly match the colour and texture of the ocean floor. This adaptation breaks up the frogfish's silhouette, enabling it to remain undetected. Although, it's a lot more difficult to convince your prey that you're a sponge if you decide to get up and move. We also found a couple of similar looking frogfish the day before. This pair seemed less interested in hunting though, and had probably paired up to mate. I must admit, I did feel like I was interrupting something. A smaller painted frogfish was also perched close by, perfectly matching the colour of an orange sponge, in order to trick small fish and crustaceans into getting too close. Guys, if you've got any burning questions about the frogfish, or any of the other critters we found, drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. So, this frogfish was a great find, but he certainly wasn't the monster we were looking for. Believe it or not, the biggest giant frogfish are about 50 times bigger than this little guy. Make sure to watch to the end of this video if you don't believe me. So, the giant frogfish we were looking for love to hunt from these big barrel sponges, but so do other reef predators, like this massive Indian lionfish. These lionfish fan their fins out when hunting over the ocean floor, and engulf their prey using a mechanism called suction feeding, where they rapidly expand their mouths to create a vacuum that draws in their prey. The next critter we found was a real treat. This is a thorny seahorse. As their name would suggest, these seahorses are named for the spiny, bony protrusions that cover their bodies, that helps protect them from predators. Their camouflage also makes them incredibly successful hunters, with 70 to 90% of strikes being successful. This is probably quite important though, when you need to consume up to 3,000 small prey items per day in order to survive. The sandy bottom on this site was also covered in carpet anemones, the favoured habitat for a number of anemone fish species, in particular saddleback and Clark's anemone fish. It's quite common to find eggs attached to rocks next to these anemones, although it's usually pretty obvious even before you see them, as the parents become very aggressive when you get too close. These ones were clearly eggless. Make sure to keep watching if you want to see just how nasty these little anemone fish can be. Oh guys, another awesome dive. Now the only mishap on this dive happened right at the end. I found a few big carpet anemones like lying on the sand, and there was quite a lot of clownfish around. I think they were saddlebacks, they might have been Clark's. Most of the clowns were super nice. However, I stumbled across a small little carpet anemone right at the end, and this is what happened. So yeah, don't mess with the clownfish, eh? They mean business. Anyway, let's go again. Whilst frogfish tend to mimic sponges and tunicates, sometimes they often choose to just mimic a rock on the ocean floor, and this area was a great place to look. However, other more dynamic predators also hunt here, and I managed to film a really cool interaction between two very charismatic reef species. Check this out. These two lyre-tails had enlisted a white-eyed moray to help them hunt. With its long, slender body, the moray can effortlessly squeeze into tight crevices to flush out prey, something the lyre-tails cannot do. But this collaboration works both ways, and the moray benefits from the lyre-tail's sharp eyes for spotting potential meals. When it's time to hunt, the lyre-tails signal the moray by swimming vertically and darting around, directing it to specific hiding spots. Anticipating the moray's likely misses, the lyre-tails position themselves right alongside, ready to dart in and snatch any fleeing prey. And trust me, they are lightning fast. Other reef predators employ very different tactics though. Mantis shrimps, like the Lee's mantis and the pink-eared mantis, hunt from burrows within the rocky substrate. These mantis shrimps have trinocular vision that enables them to more accurately perceive depth and distance, enabling them to track prey with great precision. However, when you rely so heavily on your eyes for food, it's also important to keep them clean, so it makes sense that these mantis shrimps have developed specialised appendages called maxillipeds that they use to wipe and clean their eyes. Whilst these shrimps look cute, they are actually some of the most devastating predators in the ocean. As predicted, it wasn't long until we found a frogfish hiding within the rocks. However, it wasn't until I reviewed the footage after the dive that I realised just how special this encounter was. So this is a juvenile giant frogfish, the species we'd been looking for. Whilst this one might not look like an ocean monster, this little guy will hopefully grow to be over a foot long and decimate large prey items that come within striking distance of his favourite hunting spots in the sponges. Giant frogfish have disproportionately large mouths that can open wide enough to engulf prey that is often larger than themselves, and it seemed this one had eyes much larger than its stomach. Like most frogfish, this one had perfectly mimicked a yellow sponge, although they have a remarkable ability to change the colour and texture of their skin to match their environment. After a year or two, when this one is fully grown, who knows what colour it might be. Also, it seemed I didn't learn my lesson from before, and I managed to get up close with some anemone fish eggs. Luckily for me though, these parents were a little more friendly.
Guys, this is like day 5 of looking for the giant frogfish. I've spent tons of money, I'm absolutely knackered, and we still haven't found one. But desperate times call for desperate measures, so today we're going to take this little bad boy out and go and explore a different site. Let's go.
So, unlike some of the previous areas we tried, at this site we found ourselves surrounded by big sponges, the giant frogfish's favourite hunting spots. And after countless hours spent underwater on this mission, the ocean finally decided to reward me. This is the monster frogfish we'd been looking for, and I couldn't have asked for a better encounter. This giant frogfish was perfectly camouflaged against a large purple sponge, and he was an absolute beast at over a foot long. The crazy thing is, although these frogfish look very docile, they're capable of engulfing prey up to 8 inches long in a fraction of a second. If you're a fish on the reef here, the sponges are a dangerous place to swim. Guys, I think this is my favourite reef fish. Let me know in the comments if you agree. If you love this video and don't want to miss out on future critter hunts, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't seen it already, go and check out this video showcasing another crazy find. Next video drops same time next week.